Oh, the horror. Longlegs.
Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, KJV.
Set in the 90s, Longlegs tells the story of FBI agent Lee Harker, played by Maika Monroe of It Follows fame, who is tasked with tracking down an occultist serial killer known as Longlegs, played by Nicolas Cage of Face Off and Con Air, who is responsible for murdering multiple families throughout Oregon. However, in the course of her investigation, she discovers she has a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. What really did it for me was this movie really delved into the reality that there is a type that Satan looks for. I mean, he is willing to take anyone he can, seeking whom he may devour. But he does have a type, those ones that truly light up to him like a Christmas tree. This is why you must keep watch at all times and pray. Matthew chapter 26, verses 40 through 41. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter,
What? Could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
You see, there are moments in our lives when we aren't expecting anything out of the ordinary to happen. An example of this would be, let's say you are in your house doing laundry, cleaning, and suddenly there is a knock at the door. Normally, you wouldn't think twice about going to see who it is, and if the person's appearance was unassuming, you would answer the door. What if somebody presented you with a prize? They say, you supposedly won a raffle. Let's say a life-size American Girl doll that was tailor-made and bared a striking resemblance to your daughter. I'm sure many of us would accept the doll because we know our lovely Darla would just love it. Maybe it's a beautiful day. All is peaceful and quiet, and your child asks if they can go outside to play. I'm sure few of us would deny such a request, right? However, in the film Longlegs, each of these moments became an opportune time for the killer to strike because, just like the disciples, Longlegs, soon to be victims, were found with their guard down, not watching, not praying. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 3 through 6. For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with a child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep, as do others, but let us watch and be sober. The film opens to a quaint white house, sitting on a snow-covered, woodsy, peaceful backdrop. After a moment, a little girl comes down the front stairs of the home, entering the yard to play, when in the distance she notices a station wagon. As she watches the car, an oddly pale man suddenly appears before her, engaging her in conversation, referring to her as the birthday girl. We later discovered that the little girl is Harker and the man is the killer, Longlegs. Next, we jump later where the little girl, now FBI agent Lee Harker, and her partner are standing on the streets of a residential neighborhood searching. After a moment, she stops to gaze at a home in the distance. Harker tells her partner they should call in backup because she has a hunch that she has found the house where the person of interest is. However, her partner tells her there is no need to push the panic button based on a hunch. Needless to say, it doesn't turn out well for her partner because, unbeknownst to him, Harker has presented as having a sixth sense when it comes to her job. Harker's sixth sense soon catches the eye of Agent William Carter, played by Blair Underwood, who decides to take her along on his investigation into the murders of several families across Oregon. However, his investigation takes an unexpected turn when he discovers the killer has a connection to Agent Harker, and one of those connections leads to a call Harker's mother made several years ago concerning an intruder that had come onto her property to harass her child. Before it is all said and done, we discover Harker's seemingly uncanny ability to know the unknowable points back to her chance encounter with Longlegs. Here is the reality. The devil doesn't always come in with pomp and circumstance. No. As we see in his workings in the Bible, he was often most effective when he came in quiet and unassuming. A few examples would be he and Eve, with the temptations in Jesus, through Judas in his acts of betrayal, and the far travelers unto Joshua. In each instance, much like many previous examples of the ordinary moments in our lives, the danger isn't immediate. Actually, he comes as a friendly face, in a gift, and sometimes he will take the approach as seeming to be weaker so that you will feel like he's no one to fear, no threat to you. But as we learn in this film, the knock is the thief trying to come in through the door by pretending to be somebody you can trust, that false light. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 13 through 15. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. The gift of a doll that looks like your daughter is Satan coming in the form of a Trojan horse. This is why the Bible admonishes us to be leery of gifts and sweet words, because they have a tendency to make us blind to the danger the giver poses, which would otherwise be obvious. Taking something seemingly benign and using to circumvent his prey and go in for the kill. Exodus chapter 23, verse 8. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and perverteth the words of the righteous. Finally, the request to play outside on a beautiful, quiet day when nobody is around and your guard is down. This is when we tend to miss the snake in the grass coming to engage us with conversation, his particular type of venom. Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 4. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Earlier in this podcast, I touched on the fact that Satan indeed has a type, those that light up to him like a Christmas tree. And the movie Longlegs describes how he chose his victims, how he chose Harker, explaining he was told to look for the White House. He spoke of how white and bright it was. You see, the devil is drawn to our light, our brightness, because he is unclean, he is darkness. So he is drawn to all things opposite so that he can make it like him, evil.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 43 through 45. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and finding none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
So when he spoke of the brightness or the light, he was also talking about not just their house, but they themselves. See, the devil could sense what this little girl was going to become, and he wanted to destroy it. God's plan for her. So much so, he eventually turned the mother that did everything to save her daughter earlier in the movie, so she got to have another birthday, to the point that she tried to kill her in the end. Another point about this film that stuck out to me was when the mother said nobody ever came to visit, and then one day. See, it is written that Satan goes around looking, searching out individuals, those ones that he wants to sift as wheat. Sift as wheat is a biblical metaphor for a severe trial or testing of one's faith intended to separate the value, true faith, from weakness and impurities. This is likened to the process of sifting grain, which involves violently shaking it to separate the good kernels from chaff and dirt. Luke chapter 22, verses 28 through 32.
Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not, and when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
This is what Satan requested he be allowed to do to Peter. The devil understood the commission on Peter's life. Peter was one of those bright ones. But the devil said, just as with Job, let me have him. Allow me to take him into my hands and see won't he curse you to your face. And what happened when the sifting began? Peter did deny Jesus. But Jesus threw it back in Satan's face, just like with Job. Jesus redeemed Peter, and he went on to fulfill his calling. Just as with Peter, the devil comes by your house, taking a gander, studying you, your family, seeing if he can find a way in. Just like with Harker and her mom, there was a time when Satan paid them no attention, no never mind. He didn't choose them to visit at those times, but on the day when he did visit, that opportune time when he came as the visitor they never had, their brightness shone no more. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child. And they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. While this movie was laden with references to the Bible, the devil, the role religion plays in society and us as individuals, however, what I most appreciated about this film is not the blatant citations, but the subtle ones, those that cause the viewer to dive deeper to find those little nuggets that God uses to bring deeper revelation. One example is the scene where Cage as Longlegs enters a convenience store, approaching the girl behind the counter in an attempt to seduce her with his impersonation of the cuckoo bird. But the girl isn't having it, shutting him down by calling to her father, who is off screen, for assistance, proclaiming, "Daddy, the gross man is back again." This scene represents another tactic of Satan, the one where he sends out feelers to see if you are one of those he may devour. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 11. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Longlegs ends up fleeing the scene, angered by the girl's continued rejection. You see, there are those who fall or have fallen for Longlegs' / Satan's parlor tricks. They call these victims. But we find by the girl's dialogue that she was one of the other persuasion, those that resist the devil and he flees. James chapter 4, verse 7. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The deeper revelation the Holy Spirit gave me concerning the similarities between the character Longlegs and our adversary came in researching the cuckoo bird. Why did Longlegs impersonate this particular bird in the film? Well, In my research, I discovered chilling similarities in the behavior of the cuckoo bird that mimics that of the devil. It's called brood parasitism, which is defined as a reproductive strategy characterized by laying one's eggs, parasite, into the nest of another host. The parasite imposes the responsibility of feeding and taking care of her offspring on the host. Brood parasitism is never beneficial to the host parent or its offspring because the cuckoo chick often outcompetes its foster siblings. Some species instinctively push the host's eggs and other chicks out of the nest to ensure it receives all the food and care. Jesus warns us about this same tactic as performed by Satan in the parable of the wheat and the tares. Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 through 30. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying,
The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn.
I am your host, Kimberly Holt, and you have been supping with Jesus. I pray ye be not deceived.